Rubicon on the line with us here today. And Jake, I just want to thank you first and foremost for taking the time out of what I'm sure is a very, very busy. Sorry. Somebody's trying to call me. Thank you for being on. I really appreciate it.
No, really, I appreciate it as well. Thanks for having me. Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you. And so, Jake, hey, you know, the whole series here that we're doing is trying to bring awareness to the partners that we work with at Patriots Charity Initiative. And we've been Team Rubicon. I've been personally moved by your story, your personal story, and how, in particular, Team Rubicon got started up. But I think for first and foremost, I'd just like, can you tell us a little bit about what Team Rubicon is and what Team Rubicon does?
Yeah, sure. So again, thanks for having me on. Appreciate all the support that the bank gives through the Patriot Charity Initiative. So Team Rubicon is a nonprofit organization, and what we do at our core is we recruit, train, and deploy military veterans for disaster response. And really what we're trying to do is tap into all those skills and experiences and the men and women who are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, and provide a framework for them to serve their communities in times of need. And really the unintended consequence of that is that these men and women rediscover a sense of purpose for those who felt like maybe they lost it after getting out of the military, find a new community, and really gain a new sense of identity through their service with our mission.
Absolutely. That's so critical. And I want to go off a little off track here, but I just love this story about how Team Rubicon started, and I just have great respect for the action that you took. And can you tell us a little bit about how it was started, and particularly what happened in Haiti, and how you and your team that started the whole thing decided to just take action?
Yeah, sure. So, in 2010, I just got out of the Marine Corps. I spent 4 years on the enlisted side. I did tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I was sitting around. I was looking to go to grad school, and I was waiting for those applications to come back. And the Haiti earthquake happened in January 2010, and I really felt compelled to help. I think I still had a little bit of that Marine in me, a bias toward action and all of that. And so I connected with another Marine, William McNulty, and a friend from college, and Jeff, and put together we found ourselves in Port-au-Prince, helping doctors get to the hardest hit areas of the city, and that was really the inspiration for the organization. We did not go to Haiti with any intent of starting a nonprofit. I had no intent of making humanitarian work my career or being a social entrepreneur. I had every intent of going to business school and going and working for you someday at BBMC or something like that. And but it was really it was just serendipitous. It really was.
Well, it's amazing, and the serendipitous. But it takes action, and that's what I think that I respect so much about what you guys have done, is to just kind of take the bull by the horns and go and try to do something to help, and that carries on in your mission today in disaster relief. Is Team only veteran
experiences of military veterans to these disaster zones, and we think that's really important. But obviously, we have to augment those skills, supplement those skills with people who are professional emergency managers, people from police backgrounds, fire backgrounds, EMS. Listen, we're trying to change what service means in the United States, and so if you want to raise your right hand and help people on their worst day, we're not going to tell you no. We want neighbors helping neighbors. So about 20% of our volunteer base did not serve in the military, and they're really critical to our mission.
Employees volunteer with Team Rubicon in Texas, and I believe in maybe even Missouri at one time. It's something I'm hoping that myself and all of our employees can stand up and have the opportunity to help in the regard. With that, man. And what are your goals really forward in 2017?
By population that we're going to begin focusing on increasing the resilience of those cities by actively recruiting, training, and engaging veteran volunteers in them. And so we've developed a couple of measures that are very binary measures for success, and really, over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, we see ourselves, like I said, increasing the readiness and resilience of these communities, so that when that bad day invariably comes, whether it's a tornado, a flood, or even a riot, we can be there to help in some way on people's worst day.
Right, that's a timely point. What skills do you think separate, make them particularly capable of carrying the mission out? Is there anything that sticks out?
I think it's actually a good question with a very broad answer. I think that there's really two buckets that we can talk about: hard skills and soft skills. Veterans gain some incredible soft skills in the military. The military is one of the most diverse institutions on the planet, so veterans learn how to work with people and for people and lead people from a myriad of backgrounds. And that's actually, it's hard to overlook how important that can be. Veterans know how to lead, but they just as importantly, they know how to follow and work within systems. And veterans also, I don't think, get enough credit for being entrepreneurial. Veterans, in the military are often thrust into really challenging situations, and you don't always have a plan or a checklist for how to get around them. You have a very loose framework for how you attack problems, but you have to be innovative in coming up with solutions. So those are kind of the soft skills, and we try to harness those, that bias for action. And we often talk about getting stuff, we don't quite use that word, getting stuff done as kind of core to who we are. Every skill that you can imagine that would be necessary for building and running an entire city. You have construction, you have power, you have data infrastructure, you have police, you have fire, you have dumb grunts like
yeah. Wow, it's a resource, right? These veterans and our veterans are a resource for us that your organization and some others that we've talked to recently are putting back to work in the community in ways that they're uniquely capable of doing. And
absolutely,
it's a wonderful message. They're not victims, they're a resource. Can you describe a couple, like the missions going on right now? What types there are?
Yeah, sure. We broadly speaking respond to just about anything that's a natural disaster. So, over the course of the last 12 months, we've responded to, terrible wildfires out west, Canada. We've responded to floods, Hurricane Matthew. I'll talk about that in a little bit of depth in a minute. Winter storms. Anything that Mother Nature throws our way, we've responded to. We've also done some really incredible work in the humanitarian space. Since May, we've actually in Greece for Syrian and Iraqi families who were displaced by violence there, and talk about an opportunity for to really reconnect with to use to return and help people from that part of the world, not with a gun, but just with gold, is a really powerful opportunity for those veterans to refugee crisis, refugee policy change.
Yeah.
But specifically running all the way up and down the coast. We still have operations going on in North Carolina. As the floodwaters receded, the wind damage from a hurricane is one thing, but you're dumping feet of rain into these communities, and the real damage comes from that water. And so as soon as the floodwaters receded, our teams moved in. We've been running operations there for weeks, and we've got a few more weeks left where we're helping primarily the underserved communities, the people that lack insurance, that are living at or below the poverty line, the people who maybe don't have anyone that has their backs. Those are the people we're moving in to help.
That's awesome. That's admirable. What do you think is the biggest kind of surprise or the biggest learning that you've taken away, or maybe surprise learning on one of these missions on one of your operations that you've taken away?
Oh man, every time. I think that the thing that's been most amazing to see is just how much these veterans appreciate the opportunity to be needed again. The Dalai Lama. It's kind of about the Dalai. Last week, Dalai Lama wrote this piece in the New York Times about the power of purpose and how our society has begun to move away from providing a purposeful existence for our citizens, right? And, this used to be something that people just kind of talked about, and it seemed kind of wishy-washy, like, oh, yeah, purpose. Purpose is a universal need. It's not just veterans that need purpose. The article cited a study that people did of the elderly, and they found that elderly who are needed by their families still live demonstrably longer than those who aren't needed, right? Who either don't have a job or don't have a family that they need to take care of. One thing that was cited that I've seen recently was that in war zones, life expectancy for the elderly actually increases for deaths due to natural causes, because they're fighting to keep living because they feel like they're needed in those terrible situations, right? And that there's this drastic drop off in life expectancy as soon as the conflict ends. They hold themselves to stay alive, and then the conflict ends and they're no longer needed. That lack of purpose causes their mind, their body, spirit to give up.
The story about step majors and
tobacco they go through every day, but that's
fair enough. So how do you guys fund all this? I mean, these are enormous operations. How does Team Rubicon get funded?
Yeah, so the organization's run entirely on philanthropy. We've been lucky and fortunate that we found a mission set that people want to invest in. And so this year, the organization will raise about $11 million, and we're in growth mode, so we're putting that all to work. We're not setting it aside for future years. About 65 to 70% of our money comes from corporate America. So, companies like BBMC who have identified that, our mission, our organization aligns with that company's values or with their business. BBMC is an example. You guys are in the business of putting people into homes, sometimes their first home. And, we're in the business of helping people recover their homes when bad stuff happens. So we've aligned really well with companies like BBMC, with companies like the insurance industry, who obviously are selling the property and casualty insurance that is unfortunately being exercised after some of these events. Some foundations, but then I think that the long-term sustainability of our organization is tied to our ability to average everyday American is $5 a year to keep on keeping on.
That's awesome. And so is that, a kind of leading question, but if somebody can't deploy, if they don't have the ability to go with you guys on one of these missions and sign up, how else could they help? Is that the best way to help?
Yeah. We're always looking for funding. We are a growing organization. We need money to fuel our missions, to fuel our training. And that's really critical, but it's also tied back to awareness. Tell the story of our organization. When your extended family is suffering, a loss after a disaster, tell them about Team Rubicon. Help us help them. Becoming a part of the American consciousness. Where Team Rubicon.
If a veteran is feeling that disconnect, they've gotten out, they're missing that mission. What type of support do you guys provide to kind of draw them in? Is there a number they could call and maybe you guys talk to them, or do they have to pretty much know that's do they have to see additional mission?
Well, the way we've tried to design the organization in as little as they'd like. So people can go to our website, teamrubiconusa.org. They can sign up and register with the organization there. They can begin to do some online training, but really just start to find opportunities to engage in person in their community. So, we're still growing. We're not in every city. You might join and be in Canton. Maybe we don't have, maybe you're the only you just got your trucks with their families on Memorial Day, and it just becomes a part of who they are every day.
Sorry, my dog just went crazy. Is there?
There's an international component in two ways. One, we continue to organize our U.S.-based volunteers, our most highly trained, most mature volunteers, and send them internationally when bad things happen overseas. But we also discovered a couple years back that, listen, there was a large coalition of countries that fought alongside us in Iraq and Afghanistan, and idea that concept out. We launched an affiliate recently in the UK earlier this year. We've been very fortunate that the UK Parliament has gotten behind the concept, and so they've gotten great support. And Team Rubicon UK actually took the lead for the response in Haiti after Hurricane Matthew, because we obviously it smashed into the US as well, so we took care of the homeland, while the UK was able to fly across the pond and help out the Haitians who needed it.
Yeah, that's impressive. It's the scale of which it's the impact that you guys have is really impressive. The way that I talked about the Patriots Charity Initiative and Mortgage Company in America, and it seems a little benign when you talk to organizations such as yourself that are not only touching core needs of the veteran as they get out of the military and what they're really missing, that sense of purpose. I want to get out there to those who might be listening, and we're going to promote this as best I can as to our veteran community. Is there any other message you'd like to give them, or just a thought about Team Rubicon that maybe they could chew on and consider it as an option for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, I would tell all the listeners, all the viewers, the same thing I say every Veterans Day. Take it one step further and ask them. I think it's important that we allow veterans to share